and we're kicking off today with AEW's All In, and though the show is mere days away, some of the company's top names have been suspiciously absent from the card. Going into this week's Dynamite, the Blackpool Combat Club hadn't been booked for AEW's biggest ever event, but that all changed during last night's show. After Orange Cassidy retained the International Championship against Wheeler Yuta, a post-match brawl ensued pitting the BCC against Death Triangle's Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero M and the Best Friends. Ultimately, it would be the returning Eddie Kingston, fresh off his performance in the 33rd G1 Climax, that would make the difference and would help drive the Blackpool Combat Club out of the ring. Grabbing the mic, Kingston declared that the two sides will face off at All In, but this won't be any standard kind of match, and will instead be the third annual Stadium Stampede match. The match was used at Double or Nothing in 2020 and 2021, and will now be coming to London in what should be an epic encounter worthy of AEW's first ever show outside of North America. Stadium Stampede wasn't the only major match announced for All In, as this week's Dynamite also saw confirmation as to who Chris Jericho will be facing in London. During a segment with Jericho and Don Callis, the former AEW World Champion accepted Don's offer to team together, but when a portrait of Callis holding Jericho's severed head was unveiled, Jericho declined. Jericho would quickly be attacked by the returning Will Ospreay, who bloodied the Canadian veteran, and later in the show, an irate Y2J vowed to face Ospreay at All In this month. Jericho went even further, vowing to drink Will's blood in London, but it wasn't confirmed if this will be for Ospreay's newly rechristened IWGP United Kingdom Heavyweight Championship. Whether this is a title match or not, the collision of Jericho and Will Ospreay will be an excellent match at AEW's biggest ever event, and who do you want to see standing tall when all is said and done? When everything went down backstage at All Out 2022, AEW quickly parted ways with Ace Steel, who according to reports bit Kenny Omega during the behind-the-scenes brawl. In a surprise that fans did not see coming, Steel was rehired for Punk's return to TV, and has worked with him for Collision shows, but rehiring him came at a significant risk for AEW. Fightful Select reports that when Steel was rehired, he was deemed an insurance risk by AEW's legal team, which is why he's not been allowed to attend AEW Collision tapings. Instead of being at tapings, Steel has worked on Punk segments remotely, and it has since been reported that Steel being banned from Collision tapings has led to somebody else being barred. CM Punk has reportedly had Christopher Daniels barred from Collision tapings, and their argument is that if Steel is banned, so should AEW's head of talent, despite the two having very different jobs. Fightful adds that Steel met with Tony Khan and spoke about himself possibly wrestling at Collision, but it was determined that he could not return to AEW in a capacity in which he'd be at shows. Steel's current contract is set to expire in 2024, and it is said he received back pay for the time he was out, and while he may be close to Punk, AEW are making sure Steel is kept far apart from everyone else. In early 2022, Tammy Sytch was involved in a tragic vehicular accident that would claim the life of 75-year-old driver Julian Lassiter. For her involvement, the former Sunny faced several charges, the most serious of which being a DUI manslaughter charge, and after several delays, there has been a major update in her case. Sytch had previously filed a plea of not guilty to all of the charges against her, and her boyfriend had argued that Lassiter was killed by a heart attack that just happened to take place during the crash. In court, mere days before the case was due to go to trial though, Sytch now pled no contest to her DUI manslaughter charge, driving with a suspended license, and misdemeanor charges of damage of property. In layman's term, a no contest plea means that the defendant isn't going to fight the charge and will accept the punishment, but still rejects the notion that they are guilty of committing a crime. The maximum punishment Sytch could face now is up to 30 years in prison, with a minimum sentence for the manslaughter charge of 4 years, and will continue to follow her case. More from AEW Dynamite now, as Jack Perry has been full of himself since capturing the FTW Championship against Hook and ending his ex-ally's undefeated streak last month. Since then, Perry has happily taunted Hook, as well as anyone within earshot, but it is seemingly now time for his FTW Championship reign to come to an end. On last night's Dynamite, a video promo aired with Perry, who declared that he will be retiring the FTW Championship on next week's episode of Dynamite. It's certainly interesting that Perry intends to retire the gold, given that when RVD recently debuted for AEW, he alluded to retiring the title himself if he won the title from the former Jungle Boy. Given that this retiring of the title will come just days before All In, some are suspicious of the timing, believing that this segment could set up the rumored RVD vs. Perry rematch for the London show. It was Taz who first introduced the FTW title in the original ECW decades ago, and now he may see that title end, and we'll just have to wait until next week to know what's next for the FTW Gold. Back to WWE now, as next week's NXT will be the show's Heatwave special episode, borrowing that title from the original ECW pay-per-view of the same name. WWE has often used names from the past, such as Great American Bash or Starrcade, but a recently acquired name has had fans talking for all the wrong reasons. WWE recently filed a trademark for the term Barely Legal, which was the name of ECW's first pay-per-view back in 1997, and the term itself refers to the hardcore, violent style of the original promotion. On Twitter this week, though, the term Barely Legal trended for a different reason, as fans said that WWE could book problematic wrestlers who have faced accusations of inappropriate conduct with minors. This led to Velveteen Dream also trending on Twitter, as did Marty Scurll, and some also pointed out NXT's Gable Stevenson's alleged misdeeds in the past. As to what WWE has planned for the Barely Legal trademark, that remains to be seen, but after this response, WWE may have second thoughts about using that for any upcoming events. Over the past few days, there has been plenty of speculation on Lacey Evans and her potential future with WWE. Several acts on social media have led to speculation that Evans has finished with WWE, including going by her real name and teasing that she was counting down to her contract expiring. On the F4W online message board, Dave Meltzer provided an update and confirmed that Evans has indeed finished her time with WWE. It wasn't confirmed if Evans was released or if her contract simply expired, and it's not known for certain whether she is dealing with a non-compete clause. Typically, main roster WWE superstars are subject to a 90-day clause, meaning it won't be until mid-November that we can see Evans in another company. WWE has not given any kind of public statement about Evans, but have moved her profile to the website's alumni section, a major sign that her time with the promotion has ended. Evans joined WWE in 2016 and, despite plans in 2021 for a Raw Women's title run, leaves without ever holding gold, and we'll have to wait and see what's next in the future of the former US Marine. Evans' exit from WWE comes after a strange period of time for the now former superstar, as her creative direction had been severely lacking in recent months. Evans' final match with WWE was close to 2 months ago when she lost to Charlotte Flair on SmackDown in mere minutes, and what did the creative team know at that time? When Ringside News asked about Evans' departure from WWE and what the word is internally, a source in creative were told that they no longer have access to her. It appears that this rather ominous-sounding message was directed to the creative team prior to reports of her exit, suggesting that WWE knew for some time that she was going to be leaving. Evans has since teased that she'll be joining OnlyFans, something she wouldn't have been able to do in WWE. And what have you thought to Evans' career and her unique exit from WWE this week? And we're ending today with MJF, as the AEW World Champion has proven time and time again to be one of the most gifted stars on the mic. Whether on TV or in interviews outside of the ring, MJF's commitment to his character has been second to none, and now the AEW champion could share a mic with one of WWE's biggest names. On Twitter, MJF said he's quite the fan of Logan Paul, and heard that the Maverick was upset with his ranking in the recent 30 Under 30 list from ESPN, a list both men appeared on. Taking aim at the AAA Mega Champion El Hijo del Vikingo, who was ranked number 4, MJF, the top-ranked name, said he agrees with the number 10-ranked Paul and invited himself onto Paul's Impulsive podcast. Given that MJF said he'd love to promote AEW All In on the show, we imagine jolly old Saint Nick Khan may have a thing or two to say about an appearance, but we're sure the two will have plenty to talk about if such a deal can be reached.